Hello, welcome to Baron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always, and my allergies are kicking my ass. Today I'm going to be finishing my series of videos over my Monopoly spin-off card games. Maybe after this one I'll do some of my other Monopoly spin-offs, I don't know. But anyways, let's get on with today's video, which is going to be about the excitingly named Monopoly the card game. Monopoly the card game is for 2 to 4 players, and it's basically just rummy. I can tell you the objective at the start like I usually do, but without understanding the rest of the game, the objective is going to be vague nonsense. So let's just go into how to play the game. First, you're going to place this bank little card thing in the center of the table. You'll see it has a spot for cards and money. You can take all the money in the game and put it right there, except for you'll want to dig out one of those $500 bills. Man, there they are. And slip one right under the corner here for the free parking jackpot. We'll get to that later. Then you're going to shuffle up these cards and deal 10 to each player. Once you've dealt 10 to each player, you're then going to deal 2 cards face up in front of each player. So every player should have their 10 cards in hand and 2 cards sitting in front of them like so. Cool. Oh, and lastly, take the remaining cards here and set them on the bank in the center there. Let's go. This is a card game, so before we go on with the rest of how to play, let's go over the cards. Just like in every other Monopoly card game we've gone over this month, there is one of every property you could buy in the normal Monopoly game, including the railroads and utilities. If you could buy it in Monopoly, you can get it in this game. There are house cards, which you can see have varying values on them. There are hotel cards. There are tokens. There are wild cards, which can be used to represent pretty much anything you want. There are free parkings. Whoever gets the most of these is how you get that. There's the go to jail card, which you do not want, bad card, and the get out of jail free card, which saves you from this card. But yeah, let's get going. On your turn, you're going to take one of 2 actions. If you take the draw action, you're going to draw the top card of the deck and add it to your hand. Then you're going to pick one card you don't want from your deck, and then you're going to discard it on top of your little pile in front of you. The reason they're fanned out this is so everyone can see what you have in your pile, because you use that in the next one. The second option you can do is trade. To trade, first you're going to take 1 to 2 cards from the top of your pile in front of you and give them to another player at the table. So I'm going to give these to them, they put them in their hand. Then I can take that many cards from the top of their stack. Since I gave him 2 cards, I would take the top 2 cards from his stack and add them into my hand. Then, now that's going to push him over 10 cards right now, but that's okay. Leave them be for now. You are then going to, just like when you draw, discard down. You can't have more than 10 cards in hand, so I'm then going to pick a couple cards from my hand to discard down to the table. And that should leave me with 10 cards in hand. Again, like I just said, when you do a trade, that is going to give another player more than 10 cards, which is the max hand size, but it's okay for now. Once it makes it around to their turn, they'll perform their turn as normal, and then when you get to that last step, the discard phase, they'll just make sure to discard all the way down to 10. So, whether you draw 1 card and then discard 1, whether you do a trade where you pick up a couple and then you discard 2 down, doesn't matter. By the end of whatever's your turn, if you have more cards from other actions, you're going to discard your way down to 10 cards. Anyway, those are the only 2 actions you do for the whole game. You just continue to draw cards and trade cards until your hand is complete. And that's where the long description of this comes into play on what qualifies as a complete hand. So I guess let's start that. The first thing a complete hand must have is at least 1 full colored set of properties. You'll see they say how many are on this. There's 3 in this set, whereas this set only has 2 in it. You must have at least 1, but you can have more than 1 complete set of color properties. You can have any number of special cards, within the 10 card hand limit. And you can have up to 4 houses and up to 1 hotel, but only if you also have 4 houses. So let's start going into what makes your hand not complete. If you have an incomplete color property set in your hand, then your hand is not complete. You will have to get rid of this incomplete set or complete it before you can complete your hand. You may have both utilities, but you cannot have just one. If you have only one, then your hand is not complete. You may have either 2 3 or 4 railroads in your hand, but you cannot have just one. If you have just one, then your hand is not complete. Like I just said, you can have anywhere from 0 to 4 houses in your hand. These will obviously affect how much these money get you. And you can have a hotel in your hand if you have 4 houses. But if you have less than 4 houses, then you cannot have a hotel. So if you have less than 4 houses and a hotel in your hand, then your hand is not complete. And lastly, if you have the, if you have the go to jail card in your hand, then you cannot close out your hand. Your hand is not complete if you're holding a go to jail card. However, if you also have the get out of jail free card in your hand, then yes, your hand is complete. You can go out like this. But also, if you end up having just to get out of jail free card, you get a little bit of bonus money for not having to use it. So cool. I know that was a lot, and I hope it made sense. If not, I guess just rewatch the video, or you'll have to just read over it yourself. Sorry. But yeah, that's the whole game. Once someone ends up getting a full hand, they go, Monopoly, and they play their hand down. And then we go to scoring. Oh, and sorry, but you have to wait till the end of your turn to complete a hand. You can't complete a hand on someone else's turn. Anyway, let's go on. Once a player completes their hand, the round immediately ends, and every player will end up scoring the cards they have collected. So let's go over that. If you score a full colored set of property, you're going to get the value of the complete color group. So 250 for collecting all 3 reds. If you are the player that completed your hand, you can also get bonuses from houses and hotels. So if I ended with these 3 houses in this hand, then I'd actually end up getting $1,000 for this complete set instead of the $250. But like I just said, this is only for the player that completed their hand. Every other player, unfortunately, does not get to score any bonuses from their houses or hotels. They only get the base complete set value for their properties. Sorry guys. If you collected any sets of utilities or railroads, make sure to grab the proper amount of money for those. You get $1,000 for every token card you end up having in your hand at the end. You get 200 for each go card, or if you get a set of 4 of them, you get 1,500. That's pretty cool. If you unfortunately got stuck with the go to jail card still in your hand at the end of the round, you get nothing. Like everything I just scored, complete 0 if you had this card in your hand. That totally sucks. But again, if you have the get out of jail free card, then that cancels that card and you're all good. But if you don't have that card and you just have this card in your hand, you also get $50 for having just this card alone. And last, we go on to the free parking. With this one, you're going to see how many free parking cards every player has in their hand. Whichever player has the most free parking cards in their hand is going to take this $500. Boom. Now, if there is a tie on who has the most, then nobody gets that $500. Instead, the banker will just add another $500 bill to that pile, and the next round, whoever wins the jackpot will get both of those. Unlike in the normal Monopoly card game, you're never actually trading money between players for any reason. This is just for keeping score. But yeah, during this scoring phase, as people, end up adding up their score, you'll give them the right amount of money for however much they got this turn. And at the end of 4 rounds, whichever player has the most money wins the game. And that's it. Once you're done adding up your score for every player, just end up shuffling all the cards back together, do the setup all over again, and that's a new round. Like I said, 4 rounds, most money at the end, wins it all. So this game is perfectly fine. I don't really dislike the game, but out of all the other Monopoly card games I have, it's easily the one I'm least interested to go back to. If I've got the option to go play Deal instead of this one, I feel like I'm just going to go play Deal, because I feel I have more fun with that one myself. But if you really like Rummy style card games, then this is probably one you'd really like. I will say that I really like that this one has the fake paper Monopoly money. Like, that's fun. That's a fun little addition. None of the rest of them had that. I know Deal had like money cards, but this actually having that big stack of fake money is, a fun little addition. I know it says 8 and up, but honestly, all those conditions for when a hand is complete, I feel make this game really inaccessible for younger kids. It seems kind of hard to me to remember all those, what a hand is complete or not complete. While Monopoly the card game is a perfectly fine Rummy style game, while I feel there are much better choices for Monopoly style card games, I've got to say that this spinoff is not bearing to prove. Sorry.